We're good. Let's call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
John Barrera.
Here.
Please Cumberstone.
Here.
Amanda Howell.
Here.
Les Kendrick.
Here.
Pam Rice.
Here.
All present.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
We have two items that are changed from what we sent out on Friday. So if you go under the personnel consent, so section 10, and look at really what used to be M, we moved, there was a finance intern that was listed on there under the consent that we moved person request to move to new business items. So we added new business item C to have that its own separate item. And then also we added under personnel consent agenda item M for a 2-year unpaid leave of absence for Ms. Gutman. So those are two changes that we made.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Les Kendrick.
Yes.
Jake Cumberstone.
Yes.
John Barrera.
Yes.
Pam Rice.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Public comments, we did not get anyone sign in today for public comments, but just scanning. Okay. Superintendent, good news report.
All right, so a couple of items. First item I wanted to talk about was our monthly FFA member of the month. So for this month, our member is Ava Skeens. She's a senior and a 4th-year member of the Miami East FFA chapter. Ava's participated in state equine evaluation, grain merchandising, and food science technology career development events. She's co-chair of the personal growth committee that sponsored a fundraiser for the March of Dimes. She's participated in agricultural senior capstone experience, and her supervised agricultural experience consists of job placement at Rush Performance Horses. Our FFA had their banquet last Sunday, I believe. We had a really good showing, and once again, a great banquet. Our students have earned a lot of success, a lot of accomplishments throughout this school year, and very proud of Miss Carity and our students and families for everything that goes on with our FFA. FCCLA. So want to talk a little bit. We approved a national trip, or our students to be able to go to our national convention last meeting, I believe it was. So just kind of want to give a couple of updates. So I have on the agenda Olivia Johnson. She was one of 15 students in the nation to be selected as a recipient of the National Leadership Conference Scholarship. So she's going to be able to attend the national convention for free and will be able to participate in several leadership activities. So that was a huge accomplishment. Again, when Ms. Moran said one of 15 across the nation, I thought that was very impressive to receive that. So just some of the things that our students did when they competed in our competed recently. So we have current career development event accomplishments, expecting ratings by Wednesday. Allie Shop was first place in early childhood education as a national qualifier. Olivia Johnson was second in fashion design level 2 and is a national qualifier. Anna Budd and Montana Powers were second place fashion design level 3 national qualifiers. Sophia Harris, second place nutrition and wellness national qualifier. Colleen Black was third place event management. McKenna Doty was recognized on stage for top 10 in state and early childhood education. Izzy Eichhorn was recognized on stage for top 10 in the state in job interview. Logan Frazier and Bailey Sampson recognized for top 10 in the state in focus on children. And Kalia Lawrence and Jersey Cutlip recognized on stage for top 10 in the state in interior design. So they competed very well at our state competition. Very proud again of the students and Miss Moran for their accomplishments. You know what, Alex? I left it in the office. So the next one on there, we've talked about it when our state report card came out that we were a 5-star rated district. One of 47 across the state to receive a 5-star rating. And last year, Our banner was mailed to us. This year, our area coordinator who decided to come and bring that to us and hand deliver that and just congratulate our district on a great job. So you'll notice when you come into the board office, before that front door or before the door on the inside, we had last year's banner. So my plan will be to hang this year's banner up there as well. So just proud of all of our staff, students and families. It was not just a one person. It's a pretty big accomplishment to receive 5-star rating. Again, there's over 600 districts in the state and we were one of 47. So very proud of the education we provide to our kids. Two items that I didn't have on there, but I want to mention. So, like Olivia receiving that national scholarship or that national award, every year we have a Franklin B. Walter Scholarship. And what that is it is one scholarship per county for the state. So there were 88 scholarships awarded. And all of our students go up against, or our student that's selected goes up against students from the rest of the county schools. I think Mr. Jennis, we were 0 forever. And then last year, we had our first award winner and we were back to back. So Carter Lease was selected for this year's Franklin B. Walter Scholarship. He'll receive a $1,000 scholarship from Miami County ESC, and he and his family and Mr. Rutledge went to a dinner last week to recognize him. So very proud of that accomplishment as well. That looks at leadership experience. It looks at student engagement, involvement, and academics as well. So it's kind of a well-rounded piece. So want to congratulate Carter. And then we had a successful prom this past Saturday. Want to thank Miss Moran and Mr. Jennison. We had a lot of high school staff that was there. There were a lot of parents there for promenade. I thought the event was really good. At first, the kids were saying they wish it was the weeks before weather because it was cold in the barn. But probably after 15 minutes, I don't think anyone complained about being cold. The kids had a real good time. I didn't attend after prom. I know Mr. Jennis was there, but want to thank everybody for putting on a good event. And I think our kids had a really good time. So that is all I have for the good news report.
Awesome. Just curious, on the FCCLA, have our numbers in that organization gone up? Because, that's the most recognition I
Mhm.
recall from, years past. So I don't know if the organization is just growing or,
We're only.
oh, wow,
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
she's done a fantastic job
that's awesome.
Mhm.
getting excitement in the program, building.
Love
Yeah.
that.
And from my understanding, you don't have to participate in one of her classes during the day in order to be a part of the
Okay.
group. So we've got a lot of students who have been participating and they've all obviously have done really well.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's great.
Hmm.
Okay, treasurer's consent agenda.
All right, tonight for the treasurer's consent agenda, I have 8 items to recommend for approval. We have special meeting minutes from March 5th, March 26th, April 6th, April 15th, from April 15th, and then regular board meeting minutes from March 16th. We also have April 2026 financial statements and then.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Second. Okay. Discussion?
All right, so skipping past all meeting minutes unless anybody wants to dive into those.
No, but I'll just add, in case there's any question on what the special board meeting minutes are, that's all been tied to the superintendent search. So just don't want there to be any other question on what the intent of those meetings were.
Yep.
Yeah.
So jumping down to the April 2026 financial statements, just kind of going through some of those for you. I'm gonna jump all the way to the summary page, which is page 5 of the document. This is kind of funny how it all works out, where we've been having a lot of conversations regarding the property tax settlements and what we are expected to see. We've had lots of conversations with our Miami County Auditor's Office, and then also in terms of when we were looking at the 5-year forecast. So we were expecting our property tax settlement to be a little bit higher. Knowing that our second half of the year settlement, which will hit in FY 27, would have a significant adjustment. So I had the numbers in there from our last forecast, and now we are looking at about 420,000 less in property taxes than what we had originally anticipated. I don't think that's something to be concerned about in all reality. I think it's just going to hit in FY 27. So that's the bigger piece there. I know the county tried to do a decent job sending out some literature to households, encouraging them to only pay a portion of their real estate settlement. So that's that first line from our 5-year forecast. And so my assumption is that some families chose to follow the recommendation of the county auditor's office and maybe didn't pay as much, knowing that there was going to be an adjustment from House Bill 186. So through the month of March, our total revenue is 602,000 under what we estimated for the year, but then our expenditures our total expenditures are 83,000 above what we were expecting. So I think a lot of it has to do with timing, just with those property tax settlements, but then our expenditures are really in line with what we expected. So not much of a concern there. If you look at the graphs, you can kind of see that our we'll go down here, our ending cash balance. So we received that property tax settlement, some of those advances in February. And so our ending cash balance kind of peaked there. But then we will also receive our next round of income tax settlement in April. So I have another call scheduled with our Red Tree investment advisor as we are close to having some of our bonds mature. And so trying to explore what the best route to move forward is. So I think there's a little bit less uncertainty with our funding structure right now. And so trying to take advantage of some of the interest rates and have our cash balance work for us is kind of the plan there. Does anybody have anything specific that they'd like me to address within the financial statements? Okay. Okay, so with no questions there, and just for everybody in the audience, those are linked on the agenda. So if you ever are curious and want to look at that, those are linked on our website. And then also we updated the website with the most up-to-date 5-year forecast. We are planning on having another update in May, even though it's not required. So next month, we'll have another 5-year forecast for you guys to look at. We're gonna go ahead and submit it to the state since they shifted those required due dates. We felt that it was still important to kind of have an end of the year update, which will have some of our staffing changes for next year factored in as well. The last piece on here is account modifications. We just had one account modification that was in the month of, it was actually in the month of February. And it was just a reallocation from one of our federal funds to the general fund. So we've tried to do a good job of fully expending some of our federal funds, and we actually hit that with Title II. And so we've tried to do a little bit better job this year of getting our project cash requests submitted to the state, and the state's really been turning those around quickly this year, which is just how we receive our federal funds back. Any questions on anything?
think we're good. Roll call.
Pam Ryan?
Yes.
Les Kinder?
Yes.
John Guerrero?
Yes.
Jake Coverstone?
Yes.
Amanda Howell?
Yes.
Motion passed. Next, we have approval of grants and donations. We have four donations to recommend for approval. We have a $200 donation from the Miami East Music Boosters to the class of 2027 student activity account. A $1,017 donation from Stroh's Painting Service to the class of 2028. A $25 donation from Matt and Elizabeth McAdams to the class of 2027 student activity account. And lastly, a $5,138.92 donation from the Miami East Athletic Boosters to the athletic fund for the purchase of a pitching machine and golf bags.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve the grant donations?
A motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? Further discussion?
I think as we say every time, just thankful to all of the organizations, and individuals out there making contributions, to the district and the district activities, both on here, it's the music boosters and athletic boosters, and they just do a wonderful job supporting the district and ensuring that kids are able to do what they want to do.
Roll call.
John Guerrero,
Yes.
Pam Ryan.
Yes.
Jake Coverstone.
Yes.
Les Kinder.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, superintendent consent agenda.
All right, so this evening we have three items for consideration: approval of our FFA to attend national convention in October, our annual open enrollment statement, and then early release for seniors.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I so moved. Okay. So as far as discussion goes, we try to get our overnight trips that we need to approve in as early as we can. So Ms. Carity turned in the form for nationals for next year, so wanted to go ahead and approve that. Open enrollment, we have maintained since the 2018-19 school year that we haven't accepted new open enrollment applications just due to enrollment size. This is something that we've approved the saying of every April. The one thing that we did a little bit different this time is instead of we had I don't know, about a 6 or 7 line in each of the past ones, we condensed it more to just say that that it would be permitted based off our board policy. So we put that board policy number in there instead. Early release for seniors. So our seniors will be in on Monday of that last week. They'll be off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they have graduation on May 22nd. If you remember when we approved the 2-year calendar earlier this year, I went ahead and added those dates in. So we shouldn't have to do this next year because those dates have already been approved on the calendar. For this year, just want to board approve those 3 days of release day for students, for seniors.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Jake Coverstone.
Yes.
Les Kinder.
Yes.
John Guerrero.
Yes.
Pam Ryan.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Under the personnel consent agenda tonight, we have 12 items for consideration. We have 3 unpaid leave requests. We have the hiring of Jennifer Boucher for junior high science, hiring of Abby Harden for high school language arts, our certified substitutes for the month, a couple of 2025-26 supplemental contracts for spring ticket taking, non-renewal of our 2025-26 winter coaches for personnel outside of the teaching staff, 1 letter of resignation for supplemental contracts for our 2026-27 fall coaches, and then approval of contracts effective 26-27 for certified, classified, exempt, and administrators. And then as we said earlier, we added the 2-year unpaid leave of absence for Ms. Gutman per NEA contract.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve the following personnel items?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Real quick, I'd like to go through a couple of things. We always talk about when we hire staff. If you look at junior high science for Miss Bowser, step 10 with a master's. We've been fortunate enough to be able to recruit teachers that have had experience. We think that gives our kids a good, not that somebody without experience isn't going to give them a great education, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get your feet wet in the classroom. So we're very fortunate for Miss Boucher. And then I wanted to recognize Miss Harden. So Abby Harden is up here with us. Miss Boucher has about 13 years of teaching experience. Miss Harden has 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years of teaching experience, will be coming to us from Huber Heights and was very involved with Huber Heights with different student activities. And whether it's sports or extracurricular related. So we look very forward to having her join us next school year too. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here. With Miss Gutman, so I just wanted to say a little bit here real quick. So Aaron joined us this evening. So our contract talks about a 2-year leave of absence, and it goes through language on what that would look like. It's an unpaid leave of absence during that time period. Her family has an opportunity. Can I share a little bit? Okay, so her husband got a job with his company, got an opportunity to work in Japan for the next 2 years. So as part of that, she's asking that it's very, very close. They're just waiting on work visas, I believe is kind of where we're at. So she's asking that we approve that 2-year leave of absence. If something falls through, we're hoping we would cancel that and rescind that. But we're pretty sure it's going to happen at this stage. So she and her family will be moving to Japan shortly. Yes. Yeah. So she asked us today if it's something we could go ahead and add to this agenda to give us some time to get things posted versus waiting until the end of May, basically, to do that. So, pending approval tonight, we'll accept that, and then we'll get started on a posting. But it would be a 2-year term at this point. So, okay.
Any others you wanted to,
I'm good at that point.
anyone have any further open discussion here? Roll call, please.
John Barrera,
Yes.
Les Kendricks, Jake Cumberstone,
Yes.
Pam Rice.
Yeah.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Do we have a motion and a second to approve the second reading and final approval of the following board policies? It is policies, let me see, well, it's the winter 2026 update for the Board of Education, volume 44, number 2. I don't know do I need to read all of these? Okay.
That's up to you. A lot of, I'll wait till discussion. I jumped
Oh,
out.
okay.
Yes.
So move.
Okay, thank you, Jake.
Second.
Thanks. Go for it.
All right. So like we talked about last meeting, a lot of these are due to legal changes. Anytime that our legislators make changes, we have to update our policies to reflect some of those changes. So that's where the majority of these came from.
Now, just one discussion thing. So, I believe, Alex, 6424 and 6425, are those the two policies we had recently talked about?
Yes. Yeah.
And, go
So
ahead.
these changes are in line with Neola's policy.
Okay,
So I don't think it addresses
okay,
everything. So I think it's something that's going to need to be looked at
okay,
further.
okay. Do you care if I share with the group what we were, talking about? So the use of credit cards across the district has been something of concern. And we've asked the treasurer's office to reevaluate how they are being used, so that it gives the administration some more flexibility. So the treasurer's office is examining that, but we don't believe there's going to be a policy change. It's more adjusting the procedures to adhere to the policy. So that's something that's being looked at. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Jake Cumberstone.
Yes.
John Barrera,
Yes.
Les Kendrick,
Yes.
Pam Rice.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, moving to new business, I can take the first one. So in terms of where we are with the superintendent search, so the last several weeks, we got a tremendous amount of input from various focus groups with the staff, focus groups with the community. We also had the community survey, and we're able to essentially create a candidate profile. That was used to evaluate candidates that came in. There were 12 applicants that came in for superintendent, which is tremendous. I'll say that. And, from that, we selected 6 candidates for initial interview. One of them ended up withdrawing because they had another opportunity come up, not, about anything to do with East or the role within East. But last week we had first round interviews. I think if you talk to the board, you talk to the admin team and Ms. Stevens, I think we were all very pleased with the interviews we had last week, and we have 3 second round interviews this Thursday. Very happy about, where we are collectively, and the intent is to determine who the next superintendent will be by the end of the month. So we are still on track with that. Anyone else want to add anything to that? Janet or Todd, would you like to? Okay, awesome.
Okay, so item B, K-8 carpet replacement. I'm gonna get a motion in a second, and then we'll go through discussion on that.
Sure. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the Brewer Group's requisition to replace the carpet in the 12 classrooms in the K-8 building?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so for discussion on that, we did this my first year that I was here. That first summer, Brewer Group was doing the project where we'd replace some of the carpet in the elementary classrooms and in a couple of the junior high classrooms. We didn't replace carpet last year, so we're looking to do some of that again. So we talked about 12 rooms. So really what it would be is there's 10 rooms on the junior high side that are classrooms or intervention rooms that still have carpet in them. We're looking at taking that out and replacing them. We're replacing that with tile like we have in the other previous rooms. And then the other 2 rooms would be our junior high band room and our elementary music room. They both still have carpet, which it makes sense for sound purposes. But Mr. Weddles has a big old seam that's coming across, that's coming open. The carpet's in pretty bad shape. So we've added those 2 rooms. We've talked about an acoustic tile or a rubber tile instead of a hard tile in there, something that's more like what we have here in the high school room. That would be a little bit more sound absorbent than a hard surface tile would be. The reason we're kind of asking to go with the Brewer Group, we had talked about piecing this together with getting some quotes and doing part of it, but we feel that it needs to be, in order to do what we think needs done this summer, it's going to be more than what I want to bid on our own. So they're going to do the request for proposal and then start advertising it, I believe on Wednesday if board approves it. And then what they'll do is, the idea would be we'll have an open for a meeting on the 5th where contractors can come in and look at it. And then we'll have our bid opening on, I believe, May 12th, and then with a recommendation for board approval here in the May meeting. And the plan would be that we would replace that carpet this summer, would be the plan. And part of it, again, with using the Brewer Group, right now, Mr. Upton's last day, I think, is May 29th. I said the 31st the other day, and he told me, no, it's the 29th. So I've tried to extend that a couple days for him. With me this summer as well. So just the Brewer Group will do that project management of it, but they'll prepare that bid package to make sure that we're in compliance with that. So that's why we're looking at using the Brewer Group for that project.
Any questions? Roll call.
Les Kendrick,
Yes.
Pam Rice.
Yes.
John Guerrero,
Yes.
Jake Coverston.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, second item relates to the finance intern. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the hire for the finance intern.
I so move.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, so, we added this to the agenda, and so background story is Zane Pratt is a 2023 graduate from Piqua. His family lives in the district and he reached out, looking for an internship opportunity, for this summer. So we have had, within my professional organization, the Miami Valley School Business Officials, and then also at the state level, the Ohio Association of School Business Officials, have had a lot of discussions on the lack of talent within the finance section of the school sector. I think, this school year alone, so far, there's been nearly 20 treasurer openings, and I know that's not necessarily a Miami East issue to address. But how I've kind of viewed this, working in a school district is that we constantly want to build into the future generation. And so I know that it does take a little bit of effort on the district side, but there's also a lot of effort that goes in on the individual's side as well. So I personally completed an internship with Beaver Creek City Schools in 2017. Mrs. McGill, our assistant treasurer, she completed an internship with Vandalia Butler City Schools. And so when Zane reached out, I was very interested. Originally, I did tell him that we did not have a paid opportunity for him. But then after talking with some colleagues of my own, it really, I don't want to say felt like the right thing, but it felt like the right thing, when we're expecting somebody to show up for their summer, putting in a lot of work for us. It felt like the right thing to do to present it to the board as a paid internship opportunity. One of the things, or a couple of things that I'll say with that is, so I just finished up year 4 with Miami East, and there's been a couple of different, length of period, long-term absences that we've had within the treasurer's office. Our former assistant treasurer, she was out for 9 weeks, I think it was. And at that point, I assumed all payroll responsibilities. And then also this last year, our clerk cashier / EMIS coordinator was out for 10 weeks and then retired. And so within both of those scenarios, we've never asked for a substitute of any kind or purchased a shared service of any kind. I believe that having an intern working with the district this summer would allow us to work on some of our filing. Additionally, last summer we scanned in a lot of previous personnel files for employees that no longer work for the district. That cost the district about $16,000. And so rather than sending those off this year, that is one of the projects that we would have the intern assist with, is scanning some of those files. So I think there's some savings through it, but then I think it's also a good opportunity for Zane.
Discussion?
Do we need to create like a job posting for this, like we normally do, or is it different because it's an intern?
So I think since it's not a part of either of our bargaining units, we technically don't have to create a job posting. That doesn't mean that we couldn't or shouldn't have. I've heard that there's Lots of discussion going on with this. I didn't think that there would have been as much question to it. Now, that doesn't, so another piece with it is that many of the educational service centers throughout Ohio have posted similar positions, and each of them are paid as well, similar to what I'm proposing. When I looked at it too, one of the things that I did was I wanted to make sure that it was lower than a lot of our other classified positions, just because it's not a part of the bargaining unit, and I didn't want to discount any of the work that's already being done within the district. So I have some job duties created just by looking at some of the other job postings, and then also looking back at the internship checklist that they have. So there's through OASBO, one of the options for individuals to obtain a treasurer's license is to complete a 300-hour internship, and it kind of dictates some of the fields that interns need to complete in order to qualify for that. It wasn't something that Zane initially expressed interest in, but then after he met with Mrs. McGill and me, he said, I know you're not trying to convince me to go into school finance, but it does sound kind of cool. So I think that's a piece too, where it's just, we didn't have an initial job posting, but I can provide to the board a list of duties and responsibilities if needed.
Is your question around, would someone internal potentially want to take the position, or?
I was just saying.
Potentially external?
Consistency
Mhm.
with the district, maybe us taking a look at the job description or what it entails and the duties, making it fair to everybody and opening it up would probably be the best approach, is what I was thinking. So I don't know if you want to table it until we look at the duties and responsibilities and everything and discuss it as a board, or how you want to go about that.
If you'd like to motion to table it, then we can do that.
I make a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I got a question. Alex, you were saying that last year you spent $16,000 to have somebody help you with the finances or whatever over the summer. With, you spent $16,000 on that. You said you would just, because if you, I'm just sitting there figuring on, if you get the guy 325 hours at $16 an hour, that's $5,200. And if we had to pay out $16,000, you were saving $10,800 by hiring this guy.
So it's not as extensive.
Yeah.
Last year we scanned in a lot of documents, meaning employee personnel files going back to when Miami East became Miami East.
Right.
Right now we have last year employees that were terminated last year, employees that were terminated this year, and then we have some additional files that were missed. So it's not as extensive as that. We also scanned in like tons of blueprints and
Yeah.
some student files as well. So there's a lot of work that needs done.
Okay, I'm just trying to convince myself with the cost savings that, if we did spend out $16,000, we hired this guy for $5,200 for this, that to me is worth, we're saving $10,000, $10,800. I mean, that, I'm just trying to convince myself of doing this, that we're making the school itself is coming out on the other end too, that we're not just paying somebody to have, being intern.
Yeah. So
That's something we do every year. Have to hire someone to come in and do that.
Oh, for SCView?
Yeah.
we're going to have to do something. So really, this got brought up in an admin meeting a year or two ago, maybe it was my first year here, where there are certain things based on record retention that we have to keep forever. And then there are certain things that have 3 to 7 years of time period. What we're running into in all of our storage areas is that we have had things for 70 years and we're out of room. So since we have to maintain them forever, instead of adding a new file room, it was let's make them digital. Because when a student, I received, I don't know, I received a transcript request from the 1950s a year ago. And it's like, where do you find that? We have to keep it. And they were wanting to know about different honors classes. And, you know, there was a lot to it. So there's things we have to keep forever. And we thought in this day of digital age that what we would do is scan in what we have. And then each year we were going to have SCView scan in the bulk of it. And then each summer we would do one more. So we'll hold a graduating class. And then, so basically I think what we talked about for students right now, we still have paper copies and files of the class of 25. So next year we'll move the 26 to our separate file, and this summer we'll scan in the class of 25. When you look at student cum folders, there's a lot of papers in them. There's a lot of staples. There's a lot of double-sided, single-sided. It takes a lot of time. So to have a company do that for the first time, it cost us a lot. So we talked about how do we maintain that moving forward. And I think that's part of what Alex is talking about of, you know, this would give Zane some experience, but it would also provide us some service too that we would be
I was
somehow doing.
cost effective. I mean, the
Yeah.
idea is, you know, I mean, if
Yeah.
we're paying 16,000 out, and we're only gonna get it to 5,200, you know, I mean, my math's a little good, but, you know, that's, you know, $10,800 savings.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be that cost every year because we did a huge amount this past year, but it would be an annual cost of converting things digitally.
Probably about $9,000-10,000.
Yeah.
a year.
And then one of the things that we started to do with part of our staff files is we do new hire paperwork digitally right now. So instead of having all of that as a paper copy, it's digital. That saves us. That stays in SCView already for us. So we wouldn't have to go and scan those documents in. So we're trying to save some space that way. But yeah, I know there would be definitely some savings of what we did previously, but
I agree with Jake. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm just trying to adapt to paying that money out that we're making back in the long run.
so I know we've got a motion to table it, but to me, before we table it, I know we talked about a job description and a duty description. What specifically do you want to see from Alex before that next meeting and we discuss it again? What documents do you want? A job description and a posting, or what items are you asking for specifically? So that the next meeting, we're ready to make a decision, yes or no.
How do they normally do the internships at the places that you?
So, honestly, how Zane's ended up working out, or how Zane's came to be is exactly how mine was. So Zane reached out to, a number of districts in the county. I know for sure that he reached out to Troy and he reached out to Piqua. Both of them said the same thing that I did, that they could, actually Troy said no, straight up. They're working on obviously some construction projects, and so they feel that they didn't have the capacity to be able to assist with that. And then he reached out to Piqua as well. So when I did my internship, I emailed 5 different districts and I had one district respond back, and that was Beaver Creek. So I don't think that many districts post it or anything like that. I think a lot of it is just individuals reaching out. I think the reason that the ESCs have started to do that is because they have assisted with some treasure searches and they know that there's not very many people out there. And so I think I think that's where I kind of led into it, was, you know, trying to help somebody get into the profession a little bit. Just knowing, you know, when Mrs. Pyers retired, I was lucky and fortunate, or the district was lucky and fortunate to have someone with experience, but that's not always the case. So, I think it's evolving a little bit, but I don't think typically they're posted.
Okay, I don't think we need to do a posting then. I think we would like just the roles, responsibilities, and kind of what you envision with the 325 hours, what would be accomplished in the treasurer's office.
I do like the idea of an intern.
Yeah.
I think it's great if we can offer that at that low of a cost.
Yeah, because that saves us money in the long run. That might
Yeah.
be something we need to look into. That we do that every summer to offer that. I mean, you know.
Right.
You said that-
Alex, let's have a conversation about this too, but before we do this at the next meeting, let me reach out to Sochi. A lot of times Sochi will help do paid internships. Like I know students have done that in the past as well. They come to our business advisory meetings all the time about helping businesses with paid internships, and they will cover a good section, like get a grant to cover a lot of that too.
Right.
So let me reach out to Sochi and see if that's something. I know a few years ago, Mrs. Weldy's son, he was in like cybersecurity or something computer science related at the Career Center. Through Sochi, Covington Schools hired him to help clean Chromebooks in the summer and do things that way to give him an internship. But Sochi paid for most of it. So or the grants paid for most of it. So let's look into that and see.
That's cost savings both ways.
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
I have a meeting with him we have a business meeting on Wednesday, so I'll inquire about that.
Just a question. I mean, I know depending on if we, find our next superintendent, we may have a special meeting before then. I mean, would we want to bring this as an item on a special meeting? If the start date really is around May 18th, because that would be our next board meeting.
I think, yeah, that would be a good idea, as long as we
Yeah.
get the information and
Yeah.
everything and they get it
Yeah.
figured out, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess last comment with that, the May 18th, so what we had shared with Zane was that it was gonna be 4 days a week, 7 hours a day. And like, it was just gonna be Monday through Thursday. And then it actually totaled out to 301 or 308 hours, which for that school
Okay.
treasurer's license, you need 300.
Right.
And so the reason that I put it at 325 was just to ensure that if for some reason we were close and wanted to finish up a
Mhm.
project, then we wouldn't run into, needing to go back
So,
and forth.
still right around in that,
Yeah.
5,000 range, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Jake Coverstone,
Yes,
Ron Barrera,
Yes.
Les Kendrick,
Yes.
Pam Wright.
Yes.
Amanda Howell.
Yes,
Motion passed, and that's two tables.
table it, correct. All right, before we go into executive session, do we want to go ahead and go into the, like the final two items here? Did any board members attend any committees? Board member comments. Les, do you want to start us today?
First, I wanna thank the principals, everybody, and admin team, everybody helping us and getting good comments back from the public. It shows that we're really a family organization here at Miami East. I wanna thank everybody for supporting us, and great job for all the students, athletes, and everybody at Miami East. And great for safe prom. I know Mr. Dennis was around him for 9 years with the proms. He was a really father more than anything. Thank God. I said my prayers for you for the night of the prom, so you guys play good. So that's all I got to say, and thank you for all the support.
John?
Next, oh.
Yeah.
Same thing as far as, going through this, superintendent, hiring process, a lot of knowledge out there and a lot of help and a lot of assistance, so that's been appreciated. Ms. Carity, I was fortunate enough to go to the FFA banquet and wow, I mean, it says enough just the amount of kids that are involved. I mean, to have that amount and then the awards came out and just the organization, I mean, I'm impressed with that, just having all those kids in fine tune. 5-star rating, I've been in education for 33 years now, and I mean, it's a community thing. I mean, the kids are great, the staff is great, everything involved has to happen well, make that 5-star, so awesome. And a little personal story on, talking about a great community and why when, my wife and I and our youngest decided to move back, I could have only hoped for things like this. I'm driving up here today and, I get a text from my wife and she says, we have this home track meet on Thursday. And Camille, our daughter, who's in 8th grade, has Down syndrome. Noticeably, she's on the track team, noticeably slower. Heather texts me and says Camille's running in the invite on Thursday. I was like, wow, it's an invite, okay. And then she texts me and says that 3 girls had come up to coach and asked if Camille could be on their relay team. And Coach Caden and Coach Brittany have, just an example, they're not different than any of the other coaches, but have instilled in that group just the love. The kids, we go out to practice, keep an eye on Camille, and all the kids look out for her. And, it's something special. We've got something special. And as a father, whether special needs or not, I'm just ecstatic to be a part of this community. So thank you for all the parents. It's pretty awesome. It's very appreciative. Thank you.
It's gonna be hard to follow.
Yeah. Drop the mic.
So with the superintendent search going into it, I was a little worried about all the things we'd have to think about looking for superintendents and what we're gonna be needing to look for and everything. But this community has made it super easy for us, with the surveys that Eric sent out. And then also the focus groups that came in, and then the administrative team and the president of the union coming in. Mr. Larson from the ESC said, it's good when the community, all of the, responses from the focus group, the surveys, and the admin staff all align. And he said that's a really good sign that your community is all in the same spot. And it made our job a lot easier, and is making our job a lot easier on making this decision, because we got the community backing us, and we're taking the input from the community, and it's helping us make our decisions. So thank you.
Ms. Harden, welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're gonna love being a Viking. And Aaron, what a great opportunity, but I've got a 4th grader who was so set. I'm not gonna break that news to him, but we will miss you and we will look forward to you being back. And Todd and Janet, yes, we can't say enough about the time, the effort, your expertise that you have given to us as we're searching for a new superintendent. Thank you.
I echo what everyone has said. I'm not sure I could add anything to that, but thanks to everyone for coming out this evening. We are not voting on anything coming out of the executive session, so just a heads up, you're welcome to stay. But we could be a bit, yes, yeah, we could be a bit. But thank you, everyone. All right, do we have a motion and a second to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Les Henderson. Yes. Jake Coverston.
Yes.
John Guerrero.
Yes.
Cam Rice.
Yes.
Amanda Powell.
Yes.
Motion passed. 6:54.
Oh.